All right, here we go. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Dirty Duck Coffee. If your coffee sucks, it's not the duck. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
Dirty Duck Coffee is about all I have now because I'm having to drink coffee black.
Let me tell you something. I don't want to hear your shit. I'm on a heart-healthy diet now. You know what that means?
Nothing good?
Fuck yeah. It sucks. Anything that tastes good, spit it out.
Basically it.
You eat a head of lettuce and a glass of water, and that's what you get every day. And Cheerios. Who the fuck eats Cheerios?
I like Cheerios.
Well, yeah, with sugar.
No, Honey Nut.
Well, okay. They're not heart-healthy, though.
They have the sticker on the box.
Yeah, but they're lying to you. The Cheerios with nothing on it is the shit you can have.
I'm going to try to get a heart doctor on here because I've heard a lot of different things about cholesterol. So with your diet, you probably have to do low cholesterol, I'm assuming. But cholesterol is kind of a funky way of looking at things because...
I pop a pill for it.
Oh.
They give me a pill for my cholesterol. But yes, he told me, his exact words now, you can splurge about every 2 weeks and take your wife to have a steak. We eat steak a lot. I didn't realize how much steak I have until I found out I can't eat much of it anymore. And I can go every 2 weeks, but you don't need a fatty cut of steak. Like no Wagyu or ribeye.
Right.
Fuck, that's the best part of the steaks to eat. Who wants to eat a steak with no fat in it?
Like a flank steak.
Oh,
Or a sirloin?
Fuck. Yeah, I don't part of that shit at all. So, anyways, so you think our guest today is JD Quinn from the boat slips at Lake Louisville.
Oh, nice.
There you go. Throw him in there.
Shout out to Hidden Cove Marina.
There you go. We'll send you a bill next week. You are a Cheerio eater then, right? The Honey Nut Cheerios?
I would say that if I had to choose a Cheerio, I'm a Honey Nut kind of guy, yeah.
Yeah, the other ones taste like cardboard.
They don't enter my mouth.
No. What's your favorite cereal? If you eat cereal?
Oh, Frosted Flakes.
Frosted Flakes are good.
And CTC.
What's CTC?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, believe it or not, I like rice checks and corn checks, but gotta have sugar on them and bananas.
Well, then there's no value.
I know, but that's the best part. I like.
You might as well make breakfast if you're going to do all that.
Yeah. No shit.
Eggs and bacon, hot biscuits,
Yes, you're right. Well,
slice of bananas and getting honey out. Nah. Cereal's got its purpose.
What about Fruity Pebbles?
When I was a kid,
I like Fruity Pebbles. I hadn't had them in a long time. Captain Crunch?
I hadn't had that in a long time.
No Captain Crunch?
No.
Well, that's good cereal too.
What would you eat before a game? What would be like a pre-meal?
Ooh. Morning game or night game?
We'll do like a 3:30 game.
Ooh. Right in the middle, okay. Dinner the night before would be heavy Alfredo, pasta, chicken, lots of carbs, tons of carbs. And then for an afternoon game or an evening game, you can do a pretty solid breakfast of more carbs, pancakes. You're getting, I would get like cereal, yogurt, big fruit, huge pancakes, a lot of bacon, some sausage, and kind of like mix and mingle throughout the whole thing. And then probably to bring it all together would be like some form of an egg scramble. Mm-hmm. Peppers, onions, jalapenos, probably would be egg whites, but then throw in some like diced sausage, some bacon, maybe a dollop of sour cream, mix all that up, and you just kind of like smorgasbord the whole thing.
Yeah.
If it was a morning game, had to be a little bit more careful because you had to make sure you use the facilities before you put on the pants.
So what happens? Because the other day, Jason Kelsey, they were going to overtime, and like he sprinted off the field to go take a shit before overtime.
Yeah, it's not a fun process.
But I can remember,
especially as a lineman, you have your I mean, it takes you like, if practices was at 2:30, you were in the locker room starting to get ready at 1:30. So
Just because all the shit you got to put
oh
on.
yeah, by the time you get your tights on, your socks, you walk across to the training room, you get your ankles taped, you come back to the locker room, you get your braces on for your knees, you get your pants, which getting your pants on over the top of your knee braces is significantly harder than you would think.
Right.
Once they're on, they're glued on. You don't even have to use straps on the upper portions of the knee braces because the pants are so tight, they just stay on.
Oh.
So, and then after you do that, you go back to the trainer with your shoes. You put your shoes on, then they tape those on. Then they tape your wrists.
So going to take shit's not an easy process for a.
It was a non-process. If you made sure that you squared that away. If it happened, you were going to be in a world of hurt.
Because I can remember in high school, like when you've sweated the whole game, like that shit is like vapor locked on there.
Yeah,
you know what? Like you're not just peeling them off easily.
No, a lot of times at halftime they'd change my pants because I was
really?
a center. So my pants would be soaked. So
right.
I'd change out of my pants, use the restroom, do whatever I needed to do, and then put on a fresh pair of pants and a fresh jersey. That way, everything, if the quarterback needed a dry handoff or something like that, they had some fabric.
Right.
So you see a lot of centers will wear a towel on their butt. Mm-hmm. That's just for the quarterback. It ain't for the center.
What did when after all that? What happens on guys that have to take a shit? Because there's been some guys had to shit in a game before.
So there are certain facilities that have porta potties on site, like down on the field, and those are utilized at times that they have to be. And then there's certain facilities that aren't, and you have to run into the locker room.
I saw a game the other day, and somebody was in the blue tent on the sidelines. But then the fucker walked 6 feet over, and they went downstairs right there to a deal. Why don't you just have the blue tent for those players there? That would be a lot simpler.
Well, the blue tent's kind of a new thing. The blue tent's an injury tent,
right? But
in theory,
but he was 6 feet away from going downstairs to where they were at, anyways. Thought, why have a blue tent here? Just have him walk right there and go under where it's out of the.
But was he going to the bathroom? Or was he being evaluated?
No, he was being
medical?
evaluated and got hurt. Then they took him downstairs for a damn X-ray, and I was thinking, well, wouldn't it be simple just to have the blue tent right underneath?
Well,
there?
the X-ray machine's not down at the bottom of the stairs; it's down the hallway and around the corner. And
but if you had stairways right there, why not just have the blue tent out of the public where it's
Probably because it's easier to get back on the field if it's not. Because they take you to the blue tent for anything anymore, it seems like.
well, that's HIPAA.
HIPAA, yeah. Right.
For years, NCAA violated HIPAA left and right.
How? They just.
You can't do a physical examination in public view.
Does the college have blue tents now too, or is it just pros?
No, the colleges have it now too.
They do have the blue tents also.
They didn't have it when I played.
Right.
So they would just give you an exam
They just
in
give
front of
you
everybody?
they'd take your knee and be like, oh, you blew your ACL. Well, you can't do that in public. That's a violation of HIPAA.
Violation.
Or when they release your medical status.
That is interesting.
It's
I've
very,
always
right?
thought about. I have never thought of it being that way, but yeah, every week you're getting an injury report on what is going on with your.
They never asked me as an athlete
status.
if they could give that out.
I'll bet you in the NFL contracts, not college, but I bet in the NFL contracts, I bet there's a clause in there when you sign off that because all that's got to be public record for the betting. You know, the NFL don't want their players to bet.
No, there's probably a lot of fine print in all the contracts.
Yeah, but they're cashing in on that fucking betting shit.
Oh, the NCAA gets you to sign whatever. It doesn't matter. They're the crookedest people ever.
What do you think about? We're not going to just talk football. We're going to talk a lot of stuff today. But what did you think about Belichick getting fired or resigning or retiring today, and Pete Carroll, and now Andy Reid? It's leaking out that this may be his last year. There's a lot of coaches that are big time Hall of Fame coaches to be replacing.
Wait, they're saying Andy Reid's not coming back next year?
He says that's the leaked out today. I read it. Now I got chastised by Andy the other day because I told him, I said, Belichick's done. No, he's not.
No, you said Saban.
Saban's done. No, he's not. Well, guess what? Saban is done. And now I'm seeing the same thing on Andy Reid. They said Andy Reid, they think this might be his last year. I think one of Andy Reid's deals is he's sick and fucking tired of all the shit that goes along with having the two most prominent players in the NFL, which are Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. There's not two other players in the NFL.
But they brought him to the dance. How can he be sick of them?
I don't think
if he doesn't have Patrick Mahomes, he's not hoisting that Lombardi.
I don't think he's sick of the players. It's just all the shit that goes with them. I don't think he has any ill will towards either one of the players. I think he's tired of all the hoopla.
Hold on, clarify. You think he's
football.
not going to be the coach next year? Or you think next year will be his last year?
No, I think this year
was his last year.
I think whatever happens in the playoffs, I think he's going to walk away.
I just want to be clear on what you're.
Yeah.
I think Andy Reid's a giant goofball. I love the guy. I think he loves Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
I think he loves them too.
I think he loves the media.
Do you think so?
I think he loves the commercials. I could be completely wrong. I think a lot of these coaches the Pete Carroll thing, that was a push out. We all know that.
Yeah.
And that was probably a little overdue. The Patriots deal, I think he coaches again somewhere, kind of like Tom went to the Buccaneers to kind of say,
he's going to coach.
I did it without him, so
Right.
don't let my hat be hung on his. I think he ends up somewhere. I think there's a team out there that's probably going to say, hey, this guy's a good coach. We have all the assets. Let's bring him in and see. Because the thing about Bill was he wanted to be the GM and the coach.
Right.
And if you look at, like, take the Cowboys, for example, Jerry's the GM, and then, we have a coach. But without Will, the decision-making of the team, we have a good team in Dallas. Mm-hmm. Like, I would say from a
roster
a
standpoint.
roster standpoint. So if somebody could build Bill Belichick a Dallas Cowboys team, I feel like Bill Belichick could probably still win.
The Chargers.
Keyshawn Johnson today, pretty sharp guy. I like listening to him. He's got a lot of good points. He goes, I don't think Bill Belichick needs to be a GM running them.
No, I agree with that.
He needs to be the head coach.
That's correct.
He said, people think, he said, they don't have a lot going on. He said, they drafted Mac Jones because Nick Saban told him Mac Jones is the guy you need. He can build your whole team around him. And it didn't work out for him. And he said, Bill Belichick this year lost 2 games where he held an opponent to 10 points or less. He goes, that should be an automatic win in the NFL. He goes, he is a great defensive coach still. The greatest defensive coach ever, he said. He goes, I think he's the greatest coach ever. And he said, I think if he went somewhere that had a pretty steady offense, he goes, they're going to be playing in the middle of it every year. You give him a good offense, his defense is so good. He goes, he's a good coach. And he said players like playing for him. And he said, then Michael Irvin chirped in. And Michael Irvin said, Michael Irvin loves him too. He said, I was on sidelines after I retired and Richard Seymour was playing, who's an all-pro, will probably be in the Hall of Fame. And he said, hey, Richard, what's going on? And Richard goes, no. He said, you can't talk. Coach, man, we got to take care of business here. And he goes, that was the mindset at New England. You didn't take distractions. You had a job to do. And he said, a lot of players don't like playing for that. But if you're 28 years old and you're on your last NFL contract and you want to win a Super Bowl, you want to go to a guy like that takes care of business. He goes, the last 3 years, New England has had some hard times. They don't have a great roster right now. He goes, but you take him to a place like San Diego with a roster, he goes, they're automatically a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
They improve instantly with Belichick as a coach.
And that's what he said. He said,
You just see an adult in the
great
room
coach.
for the Chargers, I feel like, because that lineup is stacked. I think if you just have an adult, they'll be good. But I heard an interesting argument, and it was, are you going to want to sign off on Bill Belichick for 2 years? Or do you want to go get one of these offensive-minded guys like Mike McDaniels in Miami and roll the dice on him, and he could be your coach for 15 years if he works out?
There's the second part of this deal, too. And Michael Irvin said this, and Keyshawn both said this. They said, when you have a coach that's a player's coach, he goes, eventually, those players take advantage of those coaches. He goes, it happens everywhere you look at. He goes, you pick it. He said, pick any player's coach out there that people just love. And the players love him to death. The players take advantage because that's what players do. He said, players are going to take every inch you give them, and they're going to try to take a mile. And he goes, that's what happens to players' coaches. They're great, but they get to be buddies with these guys, and they take advantage. And he said, then they end up losing their job. He said, that's why Bill Belichick is so good, because he is not a player. The players like him, but it's about business. It ain't about being a friend with them.
Yeah, but back to your point, like if the Chargers are stacked now, I'll take Belichick for 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you probably win a Super Bowl or a chance.
Well, because you can't stack a team for 10 years in the NFL.
That's true.
So if you're stacked now,
Yeah.
I'm taking now coach.
Win now.
I'm taking now coaching versus
Yeah.
guest coaching. I mean, because, what do we Black Friday this year, Black Monday this year was really not as bad as it usually is, right?
There's more guys have gotten fired since then. Like Mike Vrabel, Pete Carroll, and Bill Belichick. Didn't happen on Monday.
But, I mean, who did we lose on Monday? Like 2?
I don't know if we lost anybody.
Tomlin said he's thinking about stepping away.
Yes, because that's...
And I wouldn't use that as a Black Monday type situation,
Right.
because Tomlin's got, 17, 18 years
Arthur
of,
Smith at Atlanta. That was a Black Monday deal.
Rivera,
we all knew was gone.
did they fire the coach in Carolina?
Yes, they did mid-season.
Yeah,
But-
four games
okay.
out.
Yeah, which I don't ever really agree with.
And you know what's bad on that deal is Frank Reich did not want to draft the kid from Alabama. He wanted to draft C.J. Stroud. But the owner, who knows shit about football but's got all the money, and it's his team, he can do what he wants to. He wanted to draft the quarterback that's not very good.
Well, thank God we talked Billy or Jerry Jones out of drafting
Manziel.
Yep.
Word is they took the draft card away from
Thank God.
Jerry. Like he had it
He
all
was dead
filled out.
set
And
on
they're
that.
like,
For rumor has it, he was dead set on that, and that was just ooh.
just give that to me.
Well, and they're saying now that the Georgia coach is talking about interviewing with Atlanta because for no other reason than the portal. And he said, I'd rather just take all this nonsense off the NIL. It's not being governed right. It's not being controlled. It's not being, it's nobody's trying to get a hold of it. The NIL thing and the whole portal thing doesn't make. There's so many topics in that I could talk for hours on. That I'm not educated in any of them very well, but I'm educated just enough to get mad about most of them,
Right.
because it doesn't make sense to me. So like, it doesn't make sense that it makes sense to me that he would be like, I'm going to leave Georgia, my top recruiting classes. I'm going to leave that and go be an Atlanta coach because I can just deal with coaching football with professionals. I don't have to worry about recruiting anymore. I don't have to worry about this. The general manager will do the contracting. He'll do all this stuff, that stuff. That makes more sense to me. I can totally understand that. What I don't understand is like, and I'm kind of dogging my own team here. The University of Montana, where I graduated from, just lost the national championship game last weekend in Frisco. Went to the game, super disappointed. Had a bunch of friends in town. It was awesome. But then now they have like 45 days because they went to the national championship game. They get an additional 45 days, the players do, to dabble at this portal concept, right?
Yeah.
Well, the head coach at Montana, Bobby Houck, to my knowledge, has a policy: if you enter the portal, you're off the team. You sacrifice your scholarship by entering the portal.
Good for him.
See, I disagree with that. I think that's bullshit. So why is it his right to kick you off the team for trying to go to maybe a bigger school, better opportunity? So just because I want now, and fact check me on this one, but 4,000 something kids entered the portal last year, and only like 400 or 500 transferred somewhere.
I don't know. I saw where a kid pulled himself out the NFL draft day. I'll tell you why I disagree with that. Me and you disagree on this.
Okay.
As the leader of that program, he wants guys that are buying into his program.
Okay.
So I see where he's coming from. I'm not looking at it from a player standpoint. I'm looking at his standpoint. He's trying to build a team and a program.
Right. He's selfish.
He is.
Yeah. So why can't a player be selfish?
They can, and they can go somewhere else. There's no law against it.
No, but if they look somewhere else, then they get their scholarship pulled.
Well, I understand that because if you're going to leave anyways, that's all he's doing. I see where he comes from.
Well, he might be looking at another job somewhere too, but nobody's pulling his contract.
You're right.
So how's that? So he gets to be selfish, but the kids can't. Mm-hmm. So that's the whole definition of the NCAA.
I agree on you. What you're saying, I agree with you on. I said I understand where he's coming from.
I get his position, but it's
Deion
wrong.
Sanders does the same thing.
I get his position, but it's
but
wrong.
will he take a kid in the transfer portal, the Montana coach?
Hell yeah.
That's right, because he's a hypocrite.
Exactly.
But
why
I see where he's coming from.
The NCAA needs to step in and say, no, coach, every single kid should be just automatically entered into the portal every year. Period. And they can say, oh, I'm not interested, opt out. Opt out.
Right.
Opt out. And then who stays? And then if nobody picks them up, they just go back and play for the team that they already were on.
If you were the head coach there, you wouldn't want your kids to buy into your program and stay there?
With my background, I would want them to, but I would respect their opportunities.
I don't say I dislike the kid for doing it. I understand where he's coming from, though. Listen, you're part of our program. I'm going to give you a scholarship, and I'm going to honor it for 5 years.
They don't. They give them 1-year scholarships.
They don't have a...
No. Only the Pac-12 has 5-year scholarships.
So when Texas gives Quinn Ewers a scholarship, he don't have a scholarship for every year.
It's a 1-year deal.
So they can opt out any year the coaches, the team can?
Correct.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
I just assumed it was a full ride for
15 years ago when I was in college. It's a 1-year deal,
and they just reassess every
And
year.
the
So you're basically in free agency basically every year.
Well, now
they had you by the balls though because they didn't have a transfer portal and you had to sit out a year if you went anywhere, right?
Correct. But my point is, the big schools, your OUs, your Texases, they're not going to take away a scholarship because then that would look bad to the big recruits.
Right.
Oh, if you go there, you don't pan out, they're going to take your scholarship. to the smaller schools, they take scholarships.
So that's a common thing at a school like ACU.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, that's what.
Yeah, you get a scholarship to ACU or even Montana or North Carolina or North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Oklahoma Christian, any of those types of schools. You go up there for a year, and they're like, "We misevaluated your film. You don't get to just stay there for 3 years and get a free education."
Right.
No, they cut you.
But the big schools
The big schools aren't going to put the egg on their face,
right. You know,
It was 20,000 total athletes entered the portal last year.
and only like what, less than 20% transferred.
I'll find that.
Another thing back in the day, when I say back in the day, 60s and 70s, a school like Texas, which was high on the cotton, Oklahoma back then was big. They had unlimited scholarships. They'd have 200 fucking kids on scholarship.
Well, they'd put kids on scholarships so they wouldn't go to
Yes,
A&M.
exactly,
Yes.
right. If you
Texas would give you a scholarship
Yep.
just so you wouldn't go to A&M.
Yep.
Yeah,
Or-
100%.
Yeah, because there's Wichita Falls, where I grew up at, used to have 10 kids go to UT every year. Maybe one would get a play.
Yeah.
But he could start at TCU at quarterback, but by God, they didn't want you to go to TCU. So
They just in case he was the next
Yep.
top pick, they didn't want him to be the quarterback at TCU, so they put him on the Texas squad.
Yep.
Yes, that happened. And then that's when they put in
limits on
Limits.
scholarship.
Yeah.
Which screwed the kids over on the 100 right there. That's not fair to kids.
well, then Title IX.
Well, I understand. Well, that's the biggest fuck up in the world.
Yeah. So
Stupid as shit. We talked about that the other day. You know how many, and I don't know if it's a podcast we did with you. I think it was, you know how many schools, female sports programs in
Yeah,
the
it was with
United
him.
States make a profit?
0.
One.
Nebraska wasn't
Nebraska volleyball.
I would almost challenge that.
We looked it up the other day. It was Blake. I think we did this scholarship. The only program
Year over year?
the last couple of years, I think they made $100,000 profit. That's it.
Yeah, the last like 2 years because they got popular on social media because of they did a couple of cool things like had the stadium outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got some following, but other than them, none of them.
None.
I know. And what's $100,000 for Nebraska athletics?
No, well, that's them one commercial for someone at a preseason at the red and white game or whatever the fuck they call. That's somebody's paying for that. What like I thought maybe I was trying to think. I thought maybe Iowa girls might make a profit because of the basketball because they have a big following and they're really them with the NCAA tournament.
And they got that girl that's doing great.
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark's doing big things, and good for her. She's awesome.
But other than that, no,
No,
it's crazy.
not even like LSU basketball.
Yep.
With the coach that's all hyper ecstatic and
Oh, Kim Mulkey.
Kim Mulkey.
My granddaughter hates her, and she's a little bad. She's 9 and she plays basketball.
Yeah.
And so I love to be Kim Mulkey. I'm like, oh boy, she's a great coach. I hate her.
it's yeah. I mean, we can talk about girls. sports all
Isn't
day
Kim
long.
Mulkey's son? Didn't he play football at UT?
I don't know.
I was thinking that. I know this is wrong, but her son played at Texas, I believe, played football, and I want to say it's that G.J. Kinney kid who's the head coach at San Antonio or at Southwest Texas State or Sam Houston now. I think is her son, but I just don't know if that's right. But Kim Mulkey's son was a Division I big time recruit. I think she's a hell of a coach. Whether you
she's a
like her
great
or not,
coach.
she's a great coach.
She's passionate.
Yep.
So what is a good coach to like JD Quinn when you were playing? Because we were talking about like Belichick versus the players' coaches. Like what did you look for in a head coach that could keep the ship where it needed to be? Because it's got to be hard. You're dealing with alphas. You're dealing with young millionaires. Like how do you keep the train on the track as a head coach?
Nowadays, there's young millionaires. When you was playing, there wasn't very many young millionaires. There's like poor kids.
So the best way to work is as a head coach, you had to be a good CEO, meaning you had to have good assistants.
Right.
Because in a day-to-day operation, I didn't necessarily talk to my head coach often.
So you got to have good troops under you.
Yeah, so like my offensive line coaches were my like first and foremost lines of.
Was that John Blake or was that before? Was he before you?
At OU, it was Kevin Wilson.
So John Blake was before that, then, right?
I don't even know who John Blake is.
He was the head coach at OU, a black guy. He was the offensive coordinator or offensive line coach. I think he was before, after Switzer and
No clue who he is.
who coached you? Stoops.
Stoops.
So it was Switzer, then Blake. Did Harold Arnsberger also? I think he also coached at OU, maybe from Miami.
I don't know.
I can't remember. So, anyways, go ahead. So that was your offensive.
Kevin Wilson. I mean, that's who we did our meetings with. That's who we did all of our game plan preparation. And then from there, the next layer would have been the offensive coordinator, which basically he trickled everything to Kevin, and then Kevin kind of communicated everything to us. And then when we did team activities, Bob was on the defensive side. We didn't talk to Bob.
Oh, he wasn't an offensive guy?
Bob?
Yeah.
No, he's a defense.
I did not know that. I know his brother was the defensive coordinator for a while too, right?
Oh no, Bob grew up a DB at Iowa, and
I did not know that.
he was all about defense.
Oh, he wasn't a Youngstown State guy like Urban Meyer?
I don't know the answer to that, but he was not heavily involved in the offensive. My memory recall. Now I do remember the occasional time or two that Bob would get into the offensive huddle. It was because we were fucking up. I remember one time we went into overtime in Norman against Baylor. And I'll never forget this because he's not one of those guys that comes and yells at the offense. Like it didn't really happen. He was over there dealing with the defense, and Kevin was handling most of the offense. But Bob came over, and he got in the middle of the huddle, and he kind of started talking. He goes, "We're going to fucking overtime with fucking Baylor. Pull your fucking heads out of your asses and get the goddamn play." And I was like, he has a point.
He never comes over here.
He was like, "We don't go to overtime with Baylor at home. What's wrong with y'all? Go score." And we did. We went like zone left, zone right. Adrian walked right in, and we won the game. But I was like,
Was that like a trap game almost? You know, you're playing against Baylor. You're like, oh, fuck.
Every game's a trap game when you're
easy.
OU.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Kansas is coming for you. Kansas State's coming for you. Oklahoma State's coming for you. Texas is coming. The only ones we recognized were Texas and Nebraska. Mm-hmm. And that Nebraska game was just out of pure respect for history.
Right.
We didn't actually respect Nebraska. It was like, hey, this is old rivalry.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to kick their ass. We know. But,
Yeah.
hey, it's an old, like practice during the week was like normal, week 4, Texas OU.
Yeah.
Normal whenever we played Nebraska. So it didn't matter who else we played. The only two that we changed, and by change, they brought speakers out.
Made it loud.
And we had to do like fourth quarter, loud noise, all team drills to make sure we had our snap counts and our stuff like that. But other than, like, if we went and played Baylor, there's like walkthroughs in the gym.
Just get loose. Just say loose. Don't forget your plays.
Yeah, like make sure you know where to go on this.
Yeah.
If y'all had had a fist fight in the locker room back in the day when Adrian Peterson was there, who would have been the toughest guy standing, you think, at all your teammates?
Well, it would have been a DB.
That's what everybody always says, because I had a friend of mine that played at Tech, and
Those DBs are mean,
he told
man.
me Sammy Walker would have whipped everybody's ass in there, and he wasn't the biggest. He said he was the most athletic, meanest son of a bitch in the whole room.
It's probably hard to imagine it, but old producer, on the TV now, Dusty Dvorak was pretty crazy. He would have been a tough go.
I bet AP was cut like a bag of dope, wasn't he?
Freak show.
Yeah, I figured that.
But he wasn't mean.
But just, boy, he was athletic, son of a bitch. Ooh.
But he's a nice guy.
Is he?
Yeah, he's very go with the flow. Like, let's go get this done. Intense, but he wouldn't like, some of those knuckleheads were just a different ghetto bottom feeder.
Ghetto bottom feeder.
I mean, they've there's a loaf of bread on the corner, and they've had to fight for it, and they were going to make sure and get it.
Was Aubrey Brever still at Oklahoma when you were there?
I don't know that name.
He was a linebacker there. He was that guy.
Yeah, like
Phenomenal athlete that had probably grew up in the slums.
A lot of people would say like, "Oh, it's going to be some big left tackle." I'm like, no, you don't. A linebacker beat a left tackle's ass all day long.
Left tackle's usually your smart kid. That's
it's polite.
Yeah, yes sir,
no sir.
Yeah,
like he's got quick feet. Knows exactly where to be. No, what you wanted to be worried about was like that left linebacker that you're like, does he even know the play? He doesn't care. He's in the right. He goes outside contain. Fuck him up. Like that's all. Like he's literally that's all he knows. He's like, I don't know anything else. What if that guy releases? Don't care. Like busted play.
Yeah.
Like it was just one of those things. Like you didn't want to run across. I'm trying to think of.
I would not want to have to fight Tyrone Smith for the Cowboys. Their left tackle.
Oh, he's probably soft.
He's a big motherfucker.
He's huge.
God, Almighty, he's
Greek
a big
god.
boy.
Greek
Oof.
god. But I would much rather fight him than Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Micah don't seem like he's a fighter though. Just such a good guy.
Got to be that.
Oh,
to
he has
play
to
that
be.
position.
But he just does not seem like he's mean as a mean person.
I got a feeling he is.
You think so?
You can't be that good and not have a mean bone.
He's got a motor on him. There's no damn sure doubt about that. Lawrence Taylor, modern day.
Yeah. I think he's a hell of a player.
That's why Lawrence Taylor stood out, though. There wasn't very many Michael Parsons. There are a lot of guys like Michael Parsons now. Not a lot, but there are. Teams have a guy like that. A lot of teams do. Where back when Lawrence Taylor was here, there wasn't none of them. But me not being a Cowboys fan, but I respect the Cowboys, Michael Parsons is a freaking freak of nature.
Would you just double team him every game? And I mean, what are you going to do?
I'd chip him ever play.
I wouldn't leave him alone, that's for sure. I mean, and I'd run away from him. I mean,
You wouldn't run at him? Like when you're running the ball, though?
I mean, I'd motion towards him to drag another safety or something, and then I'd run the other way and pull.
I'd chip his ass every play. What do you think if rumor mill today, or one of the deals I was listening to, if Mike McCartney, which I don't think Dallas McCarthy, I think Dallas gets beat by San Francisco in the NFC Championship. I really do, because I think San Francisco, if healthy, has just got a better football team, and it's going to be in Frisco, and they can run the ball. Dallas cannot run the football, and I think it's hard to win in the playoffs when you don't run. They're saying that if they don't make it to the NFC Championship game, or if they get beat by San Francisco, they think Jerry Jones fires their coach. I think that's a mistake.
I don't.
Guys won 13 games 2 times in the last 4 years.
Man, I'm really torn on that whole topic, because I get that you've won 14 games and all that. That's cool. But like, it's, I don't know. I guess I'm reading between the lines a lot too. So it's like, why do they keep re-upping Dan Quinn's contract, like keeping a coach in waiting?
He's going to Carolina, unless McCarthy gets fired, and they hire him at Dallas. He's probably going to go to Carolina. They're going to offer him a shitload of money.
What's a shitload of money?
I guess 10 to 20 million a year.
It'd have to be over 15.
Okay, 20 million a year.
Then he'd probably go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he minds. I think he wants to.
Well, he makes the same as much as McCarthy.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be a coordinator. He probably wants to be a head guy, and I can
does,
understand that.
But at the same moment, why would you go to the sewer?
Well,
Right.
It's one of the what job openings in NFL are good right now, other than San Diego.
Dallas,
Seattle.
defensive coordinator.
Well, but okay,
Yeah.
Dallas, defensive coordinator, making the same amount of money as the head coach.
but they're not winning nothing.
Carolina ain't winning shit either.
No. But you'd be the head guy there again. He turned Atlanta
cares?
around.
You ain't gonna turn Carolina around in a healthy time frame.
Okay, well, let's don't talk. Let's go back to the head coach. Do you think they fire him if they don't win more?
I think they'll probably give him another year.
Then Quinn's gone probably.
I don't think Quinn's going anywhere.
He did. He's going to interview with Carolina, and he agreed. And usually they don't do that if they're not going to go. No,
He's
if
done
he
it.
wasn't
He's done it
interested-
every year.
I know, but I don't think if he wasn't really interested in doing it, I don't think he would be.
He's been interested every year, and he gets back from those interviews, and he goes into a room with Jerry. They renegotiate his contract, and he stays. It's happened 2 years in a row.
What do you think?
I just don't know why you would want to be the ruler of hell, and that seemed like what Carolina would be. Like, why would you want that to be on your resume?
What if San Diego wants him?
I think the Chargers are the spot that everybody wants to go to.
I think that's the best free agent coaching job there is there, because they got everything they need. They just need somebody to put together, because they've had terrible head coaches.
But I'm like you, taking the meeting with Carolina could just be a bargaining ploy. Hey, they offered me this.
I mean, they don't publicize coaches' contracts. And
Right.
that's the one thing that's not regulated by the NFL. So Jerry could pay an assistant coach $10 million and the head coach $5 million just to keep his next head coach in waiting.
Right.
So what I do think is that McCarthy's play calling this year hasn't been some ta-da.
They scored more points this year than they did the year before, though.
But I still don't think that it's been anything.
No, his management of clock management shit. I think
Yeah,
is
so
fucking-
like I don't think that it's like he didn't like come like I was really hoping. I was never a big fan of the previous coordinator,
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
I was I never really disliked him, but I was never like, oh, he's awesome. He's really gonna do things like. He's just getting his feet wet. He's just going to explode into the... Like, I never thought that at all. So, like, when they let him go, I was like, okay, good. But I also thought McCarthy was going to come through with a little bit more of an authority on offense, like a real, like, finally, the kid's out of my way that I was forced to agree to keep, and now it's time to run. Now, I think there's some, especially early in the season, where he was just consistent and making sure they won the game, didn't really pull any rabbits out of the hat, didn't really do a whole lot. Well, now we get to the end of the season, and there have been some situations and opportunities where I'm like, what was that? Like, you had no game plan for that.
Right.
And so I do feel like that's been a little disappointing. But is it a fireable offense? I don't.
Especially if you go to the NFC Championship game.
And let's be clear. What if San Fran gets knocked off? They're a little unhealthy right now. If somebody could just bump them out of the way, that would be really helpful for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
It would be. That's the best way Dallas.
The best way we win is if somebody goes boop and puts San Francisco out for us. And if that happened, then all of a sudden the encouragement level and the enthusiasm would go woo.
Yeah.
Well, every team that's won Super Bowl can run the ball. Dallas has a real problem running the ball, and that hurts him. You know, the end of the Detroit-Dallas game was a fucked up deal, but the whole fourth quarter and stuff, the whole game reminded me of two guys that have a lot of talent on their team with two dumb asses coaching football. Because both of them done a lot of stupid things that did not. But you know, McCarthy or whatever the fuck his name is, he should have ran the fucking ball and ran the clock out. And they do a lot of dumb stuff at the end of the games. And you see it all the time in college. I don't know why they even have kickers on teams no more. Nobody wants to kick a fucking ball. 4th and 17, let's go for it. Fucking, you're on the 17-yard line. Kick the full, get the 3 points and go to the house.
I don't know.
Do you think Detroit got fucked in that game?
No, I absolutely do not.
No?
I think the referees completely got it correct.
The kid reported.
No, he didn't.
He walked over.
No. The NFL admitted they did it.
No.
Yeah, they did.
70 ran out and reported. 68 stayed in the huddle. 68 kicked.
Show you a video of 68 goes right to the
Jared
jail.
Goff points him over and says, go report.
And he did report.
Oh, that ain't the video I saw.
Yeah, he did. Here's the first thing.
Show me that video.
If the NFL didn't fuck up, they wouldn't have kicked them guys out from doing the NFL playoff games. Why would they kick the guys out of doing playoff coverage if they didn't fuck up?
Well, here's the shame on the NFL. Stop. Take 4 minutes and review the damn thing.
But they don't want to do that.
Well, then that's shame on them.
I'm not blaming Dallas Cowboys.
No,
I'm just saying it
I'm
was
not
fucked
either.
up by the officials.
We finally the video I saw.
You almost said it. Y'all finally got a break for y'all for a change.
Hell yeah, we did. We finally got one.
Yeah, but it was a fucked up deal. But the NFL wouldn't have come out and said them guys ain't doing playoffs if they didn't fuck up.
Well,
They wouldn't have done that.
it was the girl.
It was the girl official. Yeah. We can talk that shit. We're not politically correct here. We're not woke. That's exactly right. But they fucked up the game.
Let's go a step further. I've had that conversation with my wife. I go, they keep stats on baseball referees. I wonder if they keep stats on female referees in the NFL, because if you think about it, they don't see the game the same way as we do, and they haven't played it their whole life.
Different world.
But they are smarter than us.
Yes.
And they have the most powerful weapon on the world, the hairy end of a gut.
I've never heard it called that.
Well, nowadays
So-
there's not hairy end on them.
Thank God. So there's Decker. There's 68. 70 runs in. Decker's right there.
No, Decker's not. He's in the huddle.
68's right there.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
It's not him.
That's him.
No, it's not.
I'm telling you. So he catches the ball.
I'm telling you, you're wrong.
There's Decker right there.
68, right there.
Go report. Goff even points him over. Because 70's right there. Now, 70 had been reporting the whole game. So I understand how they fucked up. Lots going on. A big white boy lineman's coming up to me to tell me he's reporting. It's 70 again. And he didn't look at the number. So I get that. And then...
Hold on. Show him catching the ball.
Right there. Oh. Why are they going backwards? 68.
It don't matter. It's all spilt milk now, anyways. It's got
Yeah.
huge implications. City of Detroit should sue the NFL for $100 million in lost tax revenues that they're going to have if they had play each other again. But both coaches done a lot of stupid shit in that game. Both of them.
I thought I also read that even if they had reported correctly or if they had got that right, there was still an illegal formation.
No, it wasn't. They said that was Troy Aikman said that on TV, but then Troy Aikman come back after and he said no, that was
No, that was accurate.
Because that was when they thought that 70 was reporting as eligible. If 70 reports as eligible, then yes, it's a fuck up. But if 68 reports, see, there's Goff pointing Decker over. Go report. And then there goes 68. Hey, it's me. I'm the guy.
Regardless, it don't fucking matter. But
That's a
anyways,
big screw up.
do you think
I think
Jerry Jones fires the coach if they don't make it to the NFC Championship or if the Super Bowl? That's hard to fire a guy after he wins. Do you remember when San Diego fired Marty Schottenheimer after they went like 16 or 15-2 and they got beat in the first round of the playoffs? They fired him. San Diego ain't never done shit since then.
I honestly don't know, because like if I was to apply like that type of mentality to like my own business model, like in my excavation company, like I would be like, you're knocking it out of the park. Like, sure, I would have wanted to land those bigger deals that we missed out on. We got the bids wrong or whatever. Man, if we could have just had those, that would have just put us over the top. The Super Bowl of a year, you know. So it'd be really hard for me to like sit there and like want to fire that GM or that foreman or whoever I'm employing. But you know, when you're playing billionaire fantasy football and your expectation is Super Bowls, I mean, for the brand, Jerry's done a great job. He didn't care. You know, Jerry's got it figured out. He's making money hand over fist, but he still, in his heart of hearts, wants that Super Bowl under the salary cap, and he hasn't got it.
You should never fire Jimmy Johnson then.
Well, we both, I think the whole world agrees to that. And that little dog and pony show they did the other day was comical.
Why do you say so? Just because you know there's still bad blood between them?
Oh, it was forced.
Yeah,
Really?
Oh yeah,
Jerry Jones did
Jerry
not want to
didn't
do
wanna
that
do
shit.
that.
No way at all. He had no choice. He was hoping he was going to die before all that shit had to happen. No, actually, he was hoping Jimmy would die before he had to do it.
He didn't want to do that. That the speech between the two of those men was the most comical thing I've ever witnessed. Listening to those two old guys just tell lies about each other, I was like, and I mean, I was a kid when this all happened, and I still remember it to this day. And I've watched it unfold year over year over year. I mean, come on, you old 30, 20 something years later, the two of you, most, you know, misogynistical people in the world who got drunk one night and pissed each other off and ruined our freaking brand for the next 27 years. Because y'all could just wake up and be like, man, we shouldn't have drank so much last night.
Yeah. Sorry for what I said when I was drunk.
I still knew people 20 years ago, old people especially, that were pissed at Jerry Jones because he fired Tom Landry. Pissed.
Or the trade. People were pissed about that too.
That was the best thing ever happened to Dallas Cowboys.
Well, no doubt. But
that's people in Minnesota that are pissed off at the trade, not people in Dallas. But they are so freaking fired up about Jerry Jones when he fired Tom Landry. Then Jimmy Johnson bit him in the ass forever. And he thought he had it saved with Switzer. But still, you know, I don't know. Dallas, to me, is a top 4 team in the NFL this year, probably. And it's San Francisco and Dallas. And then I still think Buffalo's going to win the Super Bowl this year. I really do.
I wouldn't put it past it. But, you know, there's a lot of the talking heads in Dallas that I like to listen to. Or they'll say, well, you can't do anything with a quarterback. Okay, you don't fire the coach, fire the quarterback. Who are you going to bring in?
And Dak's good. They're fucking up.
Show me a better quarterback.
They're not.
Show me somebody in the draft that's got 7 years and 8 years in the league, injury, recovery, system knowledge. Like, you know, it's kind of like I don't necessarily want Trump to win because he's Trump, but at the same moment, I love Trump because guess what? He's none of the other people.
No, he's the best chance we got.
But we can't even find a better candidate.
No, there's not.
So it's like we can sit here and talk shit about Dak.
Yeah.
But it's like, who else you got? Who are you going to put up there? Who are you going to draft? Who are you going to trade for? There's nobody I want out there.
Patrick Mahomes has not come to Dallas Cowboys.
Correct. He's bought in.
Yeah.
Kansas City, he's going to retire from.
Yep.
And Josh Allen ain't leaving the Bills.
No, they don't. People forget that though. They're like, well, we just need to get him. Well, they're not going to.
They're not coming.
No, Dak is a great quarterback.
And he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a really
good person. Good guy for the city, the team.
He's not going to embarrass you.
He is never going to. He's never going to be a Zeke.
Nope. He's not going to embarrass you. You ain't got to worry about waking up in the morning and seeing that he was snorting cocaine off some stripper's ass
or pulling girls' shirts off at the Shamrock Parade or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't know that he'll ever win a Super Bowl, but he's got the ability to win the Super Bowl. I think he's a good person. But Dallas Cowboy fans that think they're going to get a better quarterback, I don't know who they are. Dak's a top 10 quarterback.
Well,
and the difference between 1 and 10 is not much difference.
He's going to be like a Brett Favre. He's got a big 16 seasons, huge numbers, win 1 Super Bowl.
Yep. And if they get 1, they're going to be lucky because it's hard to win them. You got to get
It's
injuries.
very hard to win them.
Dallas is, if something happened to CD Lamb, Dallas would be in big trouble.
Totally.
Because they don't have a lot of tools on offense. People get mad when I say that, but that's the truth. Jake Ferguson and CD Lamb, that's about their tools on offense right now.
I mean, I hate to say it. We need to look at the O-line and be like, you guys were our Warriors.
Yeah.
It's time to trade you off.
They've done their time. They got to get some young guys.
That's right. And I hate to say it, that left tackle of ours is an absolute bruiser.
And when he's hurt, though, they're
It cripples us.
yes. And if he gets hurt in the playoffs, if CD Lamb or him gets hurt, Dallas is in big trouble.
You know, and it kills me that they want to talk about Tyler Smith and how he can't play right tackle. It's like, that kid can go play right tackle. So either go play right tackle or left tackle. Mm-hmm. You drafted him as a tackle. Stop talking about who we're going to play right tackle. You got 2 tackles. When Tyron Smith's healthy, play Tyler Smith at right tackle. Done. Stop the conversation. You have your 2 tackles. When you trade Tyler Smith or Tyron Smith or draft another tackle, then you move the best one over to the left. I don't understand all this argument about Tyler Smith playing guard. No, it doesn't work like that. Like, you either got it or you don't.
As an ex-Division I football player, what's your thoughts on the bowl situation now?
I can't wait for next year.
When there's 12 teams.
I mean, it's finally going to be somewhat right.
Well, at least you'll get 12 teams that nobody's going to opt out of because they're all going to play at least.
No, that's not true.
You think some of them will opt out of them playing in the bowls with 12?
Probably.
I don't know. There's not very many kids. I don't know. Did anybody opt out of the 4? I don't think one kid opted out in the last couple of years out of a playoff team.
Well, the way to fix that is you just pay them.
Well, they are paying them now.
What are they paying them?
Some kids are making millions of dollars a year.
Yeah, but that's a case-by-case basis.
That's
Not everybody's
right.
getting paid.
That's NIL and that's rumor mill.
Kids at SMU all get paid.
Yeah, like a couple $1,000.
I think 36,000 a year, 3,000
Yeah,
a month.
same thing at Texas Tech.
Okay, but what?
No, I'm saying if you're in the bowl game, you get $100,000 if you play, and you get $25,000 if you're on the team. Period. Trust me.
Can the bowls afford it?
Hell yeah.
Even this Poncetta Bowl or the Texas Bowl?
Guess what's going to become important next year?
What?
The Poncetta Bowl and the Texas Bowl, because you only got 5 big bowls. Now you're going to need to add. Now these other 37 bowls or 41 bowls are all going to be in bidding wars to get the other spots.
They're not going to be locked into teams no more.
What do you mean?
Like the Holiday Bowl, which is the one in San Antonio. Is that the Holiday Bowl?
No,
it's
the
in
Holiday
San Diego,
Bowl is
buddy.
in San Diego.
The one in Texas, Alamo Bowl.
Alamo Bowl is going to go for it.
That's going to be the second. That's usually the second team in the Big 12.
That shit's out the window.
So it's all going to be a free for all then.
They're going to say we need 12 sponsored games, period, and they're going to bid it.
Out of the you mean 6 sponsored games?
Or yeah,
And the semifinal game or whatever the fuck it is.
whatever it is.
12. And you know what's weird about 12? That don't even equate. 16 should be what they'd have.
No, it's
because that would be 4 weeks.
4 get buys.
4 gets buys. Okay.
The top 4 get a bye.
Okay, and then the next 8 play, and then it's 2 other games. So it's a 3-game playoff then.
Pretty much. You got to
Okay.
win 3 to win it.
Right. Unless you're a bye, then you're going to win 2.
Correct.
Okay.
So, but you're going to make 4 more bowl games very relevant.
Yes.
And those 4 bowl games they just need to budget the coffers. I mean, shit, they give them, your bowl gifts are.
A buddy of mine played the Independence Bowl
Go-
25
bring
years
up-
ago, and he got a Rolex.
Yeah,
25 years
bring
ago.
up pull up what the Michigan players got in bowl gifts for either one of their bowl games.
Do you think there's too many bowl games? Because there's like fucking 50 of them.
Well, I think there's 41 or 46.
That's too many.
Well, it didn't used to be that way because, well, hold on. So I guess the way I understand it is bowl games became really popular, so then they added a whole bunch of them, and then they became completely irrelevant.
Right.
So like the Las Vegas Bowl, one time some guy was like, a guy that I worked with, and he was a consultant, and he was like, hey, man, I can get you tickets to the Las Vegas Bowl. And I went, you know what? I was just dating my wife, and I was like, that sounds like kind of a fun deal. We'll go to Vegas for the weekend. We'll get some dinners, dress up, look pretty, go out, gamble a little bit, and then on Saturday morning we'll go to the Vegas Bowl. Dude, there was more people at my middle school football games than at the
Right.
Las Vegas Bowl.
Yeah.
And the TV cameras never left the turf. I mean, they made
Never showed
they
him.
made it look like that was the most important game ever. So they're very good for them. But I mean, yes, there are too many bowl games, but they got to make some of them of more relevance. But I'm telling you, if Florida State's kids that played in the game were to have received $100,000 check, every single one of those kids would have played. Because trust me,
Right.
the money that they think they're going to make in the draft, the money that they think they're going to make it in transfer portal or NIL or whatever, that's all fine and dandy. But $100,000 in 2 weeks
Yeah. Sign me up.
on the Monday morning after I play the game,
Yep.
I'm playing in that game. And the $25,000 for the kid who doesn't play in the game but's on the team, so that way it's somewhat fair. Or I don't even shit, just pay the people that play. I don't care.
Right.
You know, whatever.
Put me in coach one time.
Yeah, I don't care. Like,
one play.
As a consumer of the product, I don't care if the third string left guard doesn't play and doesn't get a check. He's happy to be there on the sidelines in uniform.
They got Louis Vuitton bags.
Yeah, they got a full luggage set.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was at OU when we played in the national title game against USC, we got surround sound speakers, Sony digital cameras, a year of a T-Mobile phone, like a Sidekick that flipped up and coverage for a year. We got 10 sweatsuits, 5 pairs of sneakers.
What do you have, joining the mob?
What?
The Italian mob. That's what they wear. It's fucking bunch of sweatsuits.
Yeah, like Nike sweatpants, sweatshirts, zip up pullovers. So I mean, basically, we walked away with a swag pack of like, shit. I don't know, maybe every ounce of $1,500 in clothing and gear, and then you had maybe $2,500 in electronics. And so, like, that was 15 years ago. I guarantee you, what's a Louis Vuitton bag go for now?
Oh, yeah. And it was the Louis Vuitton Jordan crossover bag.
Right,
So-
which is very exclusive.
Yeah.
So those, and half the kids on that team probably went home, put it on eBay, and sold it before Christmas.
I'm going to try to find
I'm
this.
dead serious.
I'm going to try to
Yeah.
find this picture. I had a guy hunt out here about 7 or 8 years ago, and I can't remember his name now, but he won. He was a right tackle for the Steelers when they won the Super Bowl.
I was a big guy.
What the fuck was his name? But anyway, he came out dressed in hunting with was Super Bowl gear. Fucking zip ups.
Yeah.
So, he had Super Bowl fluffy because I think that year they played somewhere cold, so he had like boots.
Jonathan Scott. He played at Texas.
Yeah, I'll try to find that
You know him?
picture.
I don't know.
Big guy. He's a big man.
I'll try to find that picture. But like all of his hunting attire was from the Super Bowl.
No, they swag you out at all these events, even the Alamo Bowl and all that kind of stuff. But you take that and you say you can't give. I mean, and maybe 100,000 is too much. Maybe give each kid $50,000.
Right.
So, but I mean, even the NIL money and stuff like that these people are talking about, I've yet to see. Like, there's maybe 5 kids out there that have made $2 million. I mean, does anybody really know?
No, but I think Quinn Ewers makes more than $2 million a year.
So he's one.
Eli
So-
Manning or the Manning boy makes more than $2 million. a
There's
year.
2.
Caleb Williams.
There's 3. I mean, unless you,
I don't know.
unless
how
you've
many
seen them on a commercial, like for Dr. Pepper or Wendy's or State Farm, those are the only people making huge money on this NIL stuff.
I think Marvin Harrison Jr. does. I would be curious to what the kid from Kansas State, the quarterback that transferred to Ohio State, what kind of deal he got.
I would be as well. And here's the other deal. This is all public record. I mean, this is W-2 information.
Right.
These kids are getting paid real money. They have to file it.
Yeah, I'm really curious to what the kid at Kansas State makes, because that left Kansas State to go Ohio State, and then I'd be curious to know what that Damon Rioli kid at Nebraska, the number 1 kid in high school this year, signed to go with Nebraska for Florida State. What kind of money he is?
Yeah, fuck. I can't find it now. But yeah, he was all decked out. Jonathan Scott, big guy.
Big man.
Wouldn't want to piss him off. Maybe it was on my Facebook. I can't remember.
I think he was the Steelers starting left tackle for a long time.
I don't think there's a bunch of kids making millions in NIL. I think there's a handful of them making $1 million. I mean, who's the running back from Texas that got drafted?
Bijan Robinson.
They said that he was scheduled to make like $9 million to play his senior year. Instead, he gets drafted and he's going to make like what?
$5 million.
$5 million?
Yeah, it don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
What was the kid's name that Somebody signed up the other day for signing day, and they drove up in a brand new Lamborghini. I can't remember where it was at.
Was that a high school kid?
Yeah, and he was going to be a freshman at Ole Miss or somewhere like that. And I think Saban made an off-topic comment about somebody and said that's what's wrong with our sport right there. These kids are showing up driving $350,000 cars.
He's not wrong.
I thought you was on the player side.
Well, I'm all for him getting paid.
Okay, well he said that that's one of the problems is these kids are coming in like this.
Oh, that's not because of the money. That's just because they're knuckleheads.
I think he was talking about the whole situation though.
Yeah, for Ole Miss, he was driving up in a Lamborghini.
No, he's a JUCO wide receiver.
Number 1 JUCO wide receiver in the nation and a Jackson native. Dion.
Yeah, but I mean, like, again, the internet leaves everything to the imagination, right? You just assume he's getting NIL money or something. It could be a leased car for the day.
Right.
Well, that's true too.
I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, these people are so about social media and image that, like, literally you could go lease that car for $500 and drive up to your signing and then have them, like, literally pick it up in the parking lot. And they got a video. It made it on Twitter. It got 10,000 likes.
That's true.
Like, either A, they're that arrogant, or B, they're that smart. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Well, there was a guy that played defensive back at Florida State that signed his signing papers in a hot tub with a bunch of gold chains on. And he's the
again,
head coach at Colorado now.
I'm not.
But he was all about that show too.
And I'm not saying that he's right or wrong. Like,
Right.
I actually am rooting for the Colorado program.
I love it. A lot of people don't like it. I'm all for it.
And I love the fact that he's not being Nick Saban, sitting here going
Right.
like, "This is what's wrong." You know, he's going, "Hey, everybody's acting like Christmas is over. I still need an offensive lineman. I still need a D-line. I still need a safety." And when he posted that off, every kid in the country that maybe was contemplating transferring, that he sees that and goes, maybe send him a direct message. Because that's the other thing about this portal. Another reason why I don't like the coach being able to powerfully say, you enter the portal, you're out. These guys are texting and communicating illegally, and then they get the deal set up, and then they enter the portal.
Oh, so it's all done before they go in the portal anyways.
Majority of the big time players. Yeah. But so why not? Well, just don't make the kid. You're going to take a kid who's got a scholarship that, let's say, your average offensive team in a game plays 90 to 110 snaps. So in a 12-game season, you're looking at 140 snaps at best case scenario on an offensive side of the ball. He's a receiver. He got 29 snaps that year, made 17 catches or 16 catches and 2 touchdowns. So he wasn't necessarily the biggest contributor. He was on the team. He knew his routes. He knew his route trees. He studied his playbook. He was ready to perform. He was younger than everybody else, maybe. But you know what? He didn't get quite the opportunities. And so all he's doing by entering the portal, all he's saying is like, hey, look, I've got 29 snaps out of, 1,000. Or I don't know how maybe my numbers are a little off, but you understand what I'm trying to say. Like, he's just saying like, hey, and if there's another squad out there that's like, hey, dude, you know what? You run clean routes. It looks like you know your game. We'd like to talk to you on the phone. He can't even have that conversation without entering the portal if he's legal.
Right.
And that's not fair.
I saw today, big talk is that would Deion Sanders be interested in the Alabama job? And I don't think anybody wants the Alabama. Everybody wants the Alabama job, but those are some tough steps to follow. Because if you go at 9-3 in Alabama and you're not playing in the SEC championship game, they're gonna fire you. I mean, you got a 2-year window.
A&M all over.
That's right. But they've been steady with Saban for a long time. So whoever comes in there now, if they're not winning, if Saban had a bad year or two, it's Nick Saban. He was good. If Lane Kiffin goes there and he goes 9-3 2 years in a row, they're firing him.
Why would Lane Kiffin leave?
I wouldn't go from Ole Miss to Alabama. I don't. That's a tough. That's what I'm saying. That's a hard
job. If I was
job.
any coach right now, I would take the interview, come back to my house, and wait for the phone to ring to get my re-up.
Yep. That's exactly
I'd
right.
make sure they knew I was on that plane, but I have no intention of taking that job.
That's a tough job to fill, just like the job in Boston is. New England's job is not an easy one to fill. Belichick. I think Mike Vrabel is going to be in that guy's going to take that job because Tennessee fired him. He's a good coach. He's got ties to New England. I think that's where he ends up at.
Well, I think if Kraft is smart, he starts with a GM. I think he goes back to the traditional model, hires a GM, lets the GM hire the coach, That way he's removed. So as soon as he hires his GM, then the coaching search will be on. It would be my thought.
That's what I think it's going to be, is Vrabel.
I don't think that's an unreasonable thought.
How does somebody like Saban turn it off? Like, you think about his life. He's been super competitive. I don't know how old he is. He's in his 70s.
He's fed up.
72. Him and Belichick same age.
I think he's fed up.
You think
too.
so? Yeah. But I just don't know how you turn that switch off.
I think he's finally fed up. He's finally fed up with that. He's fed up with the cheating. He's fed up with everything. He's just finally like, I'm done.
He built his program the right way.
Allegedly.
I'm sure there's a lot of.
I'm sure they all built it the
yes.
right way.
But he was recruiting 5-star and 4-star athletes, and that he didn't have to compete against if Alabama made you an offer.
That's the thing. He didn't compete. He didn't have to compete against anybody. Now with the NIL, it's anybody's got a shot
But
at the.
that's what I'm saying. He built the program to where he was a pinnacle, where Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State got whoever they wanted, and then kids would leave there a little bit, but that's where they wanted to go. Well, now it's not about going to Alabama. It's about somebody's going to pay me a little bit more money, so I'm going to go over here. And you know what? You talking about poor kids. You played Division I football. You played with a lot of guys. You played with some really poor kids that didn't have shit. Only clothes they had to wear is what the athletic department gave them for sweats and hoodies and shit. They were poor. If a kid like that's got a chance to make $100,000 a year, that's a lot of fucking money to a kid that's been poor. A lot of money.
Well, they're already making like $7,000 a month in per diem now.
Right.
So I mean, they make an extra 100. Yeah, it makes a difference. But between their Pell grants and what the schools are allowed to pay them now, they're already getting taxed on like $75,000, and they're getting their school and all that. But I mean, the real reality of what's going on right now in the marketplace of college football. I won't say college athletics, because the NCAA is about to get the middle finger from the SEC and the Big Ten. That's why every one of these schools rushed to get in, did whatever they had to do, sacrificed whatever they had to sacrifice, because they're on the verge of being like, we are not going to be governed by the NCAA. We are not going to give you a $280 million a year, $550 million a year, whatever it is. You can go have your Power 5, and that's going to become every other school. It's going to be a Power 5 just like it was, minus the big schools that can compete.
What do you think the big schools will do then? Because there's a lot of people think this is going to happen. You've got 16 teams in the SEC now, and there's 16 teams in the Big.
And it'll probably end up being
Big
20
10.
and 20.
So 40 schools, and you think we're going to have like a basically NFL minor league type
Pretty
deal.
much.
And then you think the other schools like Texas Tech and Oklahoma State and them will have a regular NCAA. Do you think the NCAA will power over them? Or do you think they'll leave?
Where will they go?
I don't know. Do you think that the NCAA is going to regulate the basketball for those 40 team schools, or are they going to be out of that also?
I think that they will maintain basketball.
See, I think the NCAA don't want to give that up. So they're going to let these guys say, okay, we'll take the loss. You take your football and you go play by yourself.
Well, they're not going to have a choice.
On the football
side, the NCAA is going to say, we don't want to. Okay.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Liv and PGA.
Right.
PGA was like, oh, we're never. And then all of a sudden, Liv's like, look, we're just going to put you down like a dead dog. And PGA was like, we're sorry. we didn't realize that you had this much money. We apologize. We would like to join you. And so the NCAA is not going to get like when the football powers that be say, no, you're not going to help us negotiate a TV contract. We're going to play on our own network. It's going to probably be Amazon.
Because they can afford it.
Yeah, Amazon's going to say, we'll air every game. We'll host your championships.
And for $2.95, you can watch every game on your Amazon Prime.
That's right. It's going to be, or if you're a Prime member and they're going to make Prime $10 more a year.
Yep.
And that's how they'll cover it. So it'll be something along those lines where you will not be able to watch Texas football
Unless you pay for it.
That's right. And then if you take football off the books at those big schools, what does it do to Title IX? Now all of a sudden, a lot of these schools are not hindered. So now all of a sudden it opens up that 100 scholarships. Well, what's going to do? What sports are they going to cut? 100 scholarships for girls.
Because it doesn't make money.
Exactly. So if I'm an athletic director, I'm looking at it going, well, now that I don't have to carry 110 scholarships at Texas for football, I'm going to cut the girls swimming and the girls soccer and I'm going to keep men's baseball, men's basketball, girls basketball, anything that does somewhat decent.
Yeah.
Or that we have a fan base for. It's just gonna, the whole era is gonna change in my lifetime with like what I grew up with and where my kids will be when
It's already changed a ton.
It's already changed a ton, going from, you know, players, people thinking that an education's of value to now they're like, who goes to college anymore? I mean, what's that student debt worth if you're not going to be a lawyer, an engineer, medical?
That's coming with everybody. I don't think just
that's what I'm saying.
athletes.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like in
Right.
general, it's like you got these liberal colleges that are out there teaching things, and people are like, wait, why are you even going to college? Come out with a bunch of debt and no job that pays well.
Your NCAA deal's pretty interesting too, because you think about it. Like the NCAA baseball tournament last year, who played in the finals? Was it Texas and LSU last year?
I think so.
Okay, 2 SEC schools basically now. College football was 2 SEC schools and 2 Big Ten schools basically this year, because that's Washington's Big Ten, Texas going to SEC. So you had those. That's what they deal. Girls softball, OU's won 400 years in a row or something. That shit. SEC school. So you're not, the NCAA don't want to cut those programs out because it's going to kill their other sports. Basketball, I don't watch college basketball at all. But other than the ACC, the SEC, Big 12, they don't want to keep those. Could you imagine the NCAA tournament if you got rid of the SEC, the 20 teams that would be in the SEC and 20 in the Big 10? You wouldn't even have an NCAA tournament for basketball.
No, that's what I'm saying. I
So
think
they've got to keep those teams.
I think if without the NCAA tournament, then the NCAA has nothing to stand on.
They don't.
So I think that's actually a really good point. But I mean, imagine if you didn't have the 110 football scholarships and you can actually give 25 scholarships to baseball
Yeah.
Yeah.
instead of 11.3 or 11.7, whatever it is. Imagine if you could have baseball programs actually have 30 scholarships. Mm-hmm. Think of what baseball would look like in America.
Still be baseball.
No,
Yeah.
no. It would be way better.
So is Title IX, it's 1 for 1? You give one to a guy, you got to give one to a girl?
I think it might not be scholarship based. It might be money based. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
I think it's scholarships, because I think like schools put in like rowing teams and shit for the girls, lacrosse and stuff that.
But I also know that like if they upgrade the football facilities, they'll end up upgrading the girls golf facility because they spent X number on the football team. They got to spend X number on girls sports too.
Well, Texas girls ought to have some badass shit in A&M girls, because as much money as they spend on them football stadiums the last couple of years.
Yeah. So I don't know the nuts and bolts of it. I just know that it's a very vague term that gets thrown around a lot when it comes to like, we can't do that because of Title IX.
I bet.
Like, what?
I bet when they upgraded DK Royal Stadium at Austin, I bet they said, "Whoa, hold on, girls track team works here, and so and so," and so they counted that. I bet that's the way they got about that shit.
100.
But let's be 100%. It's because of fucking football.
Oh no, and then the baseball team does indoor batting cages underneath the stadium.
Yeah.
There's 100% that happens all the time. And I'm like, as a football player, I've never even seen these spaces. Like, I'm like, wait, there's an indoor batting cage? Where? They're like down those stairs. I'm like, what?
You kept that from us all these years?
Like, what? And you go down there and it's there, and then like 2 years later, it's gone. You're like, where'd it go?
We built it. It's over now.
We built it.
We're back to football now.
We had the inspection. She gone.
Did you get to meet Toby Keith when you played for the Sooners?
I did meet Toby Keith.
Pretty good guy.
He was not excited to have the trouble that was laid on my feet.
I'm really lost now on this.
You met him.
Well, I met him
in the midst of
I met him a dozen times, but when it all kind of came out, he was
Not excited to be around you?
not a reasonable fan.
Yeah. But like, why was he that? Because he got the coach's side of things?
Because he's a boomer.
And you were bad for the brand.
Yep.
Did he ever say anything to you, or you could just kind of tell by his attitude?
Asked me to leave his restaurant.
Oh, he did? Oh, wow. Were you invited, or you just went? Just you and a bunch of buddies go to eat at Toby Keith's restaurant?
Just like always.
So he had an open door policy for Sooner players.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that, but
You would go to his restaurant quite a bit when you played for them.
if we were in Bricktown.
And then he was like, "You got to go."
To just you?
And Rhett.
Did he come up to you, or did he have his like sommelier?
Shit, no, he ain't doing that shit.
I said, we would prefer you didn't dine here.
And the fried bologna sandwich there's pretty decent too.
What'd you say? Did you leave?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that motherfucker. I ain't giving him my money.
I don't know if there was a lot of money exchanged.
I ain't eating his free food no more. Fuck him.
don't really remember if we paid for that or not.
You still talk to Rhett much?
No, he wasn't real satisfied with my decision to go to Montana.
Why?
I just think he thought we were going to go somewhere together.
Where did he end up going?
Sam Houston State.
He played. He got drafted.
He tore his ACL, and then he came back his senior year. I think they made the playoffs, and they got beat. And then he was like a 5th-round pick to the Giants, backed up Eli Manning for like 5 years.
I watched him play at the Oil Bowl in Wichita Falls when he was in high school his senior year. He's a good ball player.
No, Rhett was, and he was smart. So, I mean, it's just funny that we got in trouble for what now they're.
You getting me paid? You'd be one of them guys making $1 million a year.
But I still don't understand why they thought anybody in your position would say no to that opportunity.
Well, apparently, we were supposed to.
But that's foolish.
What's foolish is that we had drug dealers and rapists and people that were beating women on the team and getting arrested for it, and we got caught receiving money from people that wanted to give it to us.
Right.
Yet we got removed from the team, and these other players were literally not even suspended for a game. I mean, look at how hard OU worked to keep that Subway video of that kid
Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon.
Punching that girl.
They spent a year in court trying to keep that video from coming out. He damn near killed that girl. They let him play his whole senior year and then made sure he got drafted in the 1st round. And he damn near killed that girl. He hit her so hard in that Subway. And yet you're going to tell me that the $7,000 that I got paid is the same as, and they didn't even kick him off the team.
Nope.
So you're telling me like that's acceptable? Yeah, watch that.
You never seen that, Andy?
No, I don't think.
Bring that up.
He still plays in the NFL. That's what's crazy.
This will make you angrier than hell.
Were they? I'm assuming. Poof.
She said she used the N-word.
Who gives a shit?
I agree with you.
You think he hadn't heard that on the football field before?
That's what gets me. That word is such a hypocritical word, anyways, because I promise you, I don't know Joe Mixon, but I promise you, he uses that word.
100%.
Yeah. But you hit somebody over that shit.
That girl's
Now,
100 pounds.
Well, don't matter how big she is. Could you imagine if it had been an old man said that or old woman in the grocery store and you punch him for that? What other word gives you the right to punch anybody?
There ain't a word that gives anybody a right to punch
Right.
anybody.
But they get a free pass on that word.
But
And
show
that's
me how
bullshit.
the University of Oklahoma can defend that.
They can't.
Yeah.
But they sure as fuck did.
How's Myles Garrett playing still for the Cleveland Browns? Having hit a guy with the helmet.
Yeah,
Taking
but
the
that was
helmet.
on the field.
I don't give a fuck. He took a helmet. He
No,
hit a fucking
I
guy
agree with
no
you.
helmet on.
It's on the field.
Well, it's different, but it's still an assault.
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get anybody on the football field for anything that happens out there.
You take a football
Violently.
helmet and hit a guy with no helmet on in the head?
No.
That's acceptable.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no,
I-
you're wrong on this one.
I agree.
But you don't hit women, and you damn sure
No.
don't hit little women like that when you're a
Even
goddamn
if it's a big
first-round
woman.
draft pick.
Even if it's a big woman, you don't hit a woman.
Well, they'll absorb it better, but it doesn't change. You still shouldn't do it. But my point is, Oklahoma stood up for him, went to fucking court, fucking Supreme Court of Oklahoma to try and keep that video from getting out.
Yep.
And they threw me and Red under the bus for $7,000
Yeah. It's
because they were covering up the whole conspiracy of their bullshit program.
kind of like the deep state. Y'all were the bad guys and they Clintonized
But you're
y'all.
telling me that's okay?
No, I didn't say it was okay. That's wrong.
That's fucking bullshit.
I agree 100% with you.
That video gets to be fired up.
Can you imagine someone drafting someone that did that?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I can because it's all about money at that point. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but the NFL's so woke and wanted, they wanted to suspend. They
NFL ain't
suspended
woke.
Adrian Peterson for a fucking year for spanking his kids.
Well, I don't disagree. I don't agree with that either. I don't think they should have done that.
But they let him play.
Hell, I got another story if you really want to hear it.
Yeah.
Jimmy Wilson.
I don't know who Jimmy Wilson is.
Look up Jimmy Wilson.
Okay.
Jimmy Wilson played with me at the University of Montana.
Okay.
Jimmy Wilson gets out of practice, and my facts on this might be a little bit grayish because I think it might have been spring ball. Either way, we're in Montana, practice, blah blah blah. Jimmy Wilson's mom, who has some mental handicaps, he gets a call. She's been on again, off again with some gangbanger, Crip, blood, somebody in California where he's from. And apparently he beat her up and peed on her.
The gangbanger did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So his mom calls him. Jimmy's like, I'm fucking done with this. Gets in his Lincoln Navigator, drives all the way back to California, AK-47. Guy comes out of the house. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna? Boom, 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 boom. Kills him dead in the driveway. Gets into the car, drives back to Montana, throws the gun over a bridge somewhere, shows up at practice the next day.
Whoa.
No shit.
Swear to God. Okay. The LAPD sheriffs come to my door like 2 weeks later. Knock, knock, knock. Hello? They're like, hey, we're from LA County, blah, blah, blah. We're investigating a murder. I'm like,
I ain't been to LA.
what are you doing at my house? and they're like, well, we're investigating one of your teammates, and we've interviewed several other of your teammates, and they've all made it very clear you own a lot of firearms. And I was like, really?
Which teammate?
I was like, what does that have to do with me? They're like, well, we'd like to go through your gun safe. We know you have a gun safe. And I was like, okay, well, you got a warrant? They're like, no. I was like, you can't go through my gun safe then. And they're like, well, we're really just looking for an AK-47. I was like, that doesn't change the fact that I'm not letting you in my house. They didn't tell me what it was about. I didn't know anything, right? And my roommate at the time, Brent Russum, was another offensive lineman who got met me in Montana after he was asked to leave the University of Arizona State for making some questionable videography with a female. And so he's like, what was that about? I go, I don't know. So we go. They arrest Jimmy Wilson that next day and take him back to California. He sits in jail for 18 months, maybe even 2 years.
High bond.
On bond, couldn't make bond.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The bond was so high, $1 million bond probably because it was a murder case. Finally goes to trial, gets off, petitions the NCAA to come back to Montana, demands to play his senior year, gets drafted to the Chargers, I think. And me and my wife are sitting there watching the TV a couple of years ago, and they're promoting Jimmy Wilson's charitable events and all this, and I was like, wait, what? I'm like, I know that guy.
How long did he play in the league?
He played years.
No shit.
Oh yeah.
Did he ever admit to shooting the guy and they let him off because the guy beat his mom? Or
I don't know what it. I think he. Yeah.
So they know he killed the guy.
I think.
It wasn't like an O.J. Simpson deal.
It was like a
self-defense type thing.
Kinda.
I think the claim was he went down there to have a normal argument with the guy that they've been off again, on again, and it escalated, and then a gun was presented, and then there was a scuffle, and the gun went off, and he died, and Jimmy didn't. And they never could find the gun, and they didn't know who pulled the trigger. And it was kind of that I don't know what happened.
Two bad guys got into it, and one guy lived and one died. End of story.
And there's no gun with fingerprints. There's nobody with gunshot residue on their hands. There's no there's one guy dead and one guy not dead, and there was witnesses that said that they might have had a scuffle. And then when you're in the hood in California,
not enough evidence.
People die.
I don't think they're. Yeah, and I think they were able to get the evidence that she got beat up and urinated on by the dead guy. That the jury was kind of I guess we're kind of good with this. I don't know.
Right. Did you ever watch Ballers on HBO?
I saw one episode, I think.
That show gave me anxiety just because. So if people haven't seen it, The Rock's like an agent.
An agent,
Super
right?
agent.
Yeah.
Drew
And
Rosenhaus.
Motherfucker. The calls that he would get, just somebody fucked up, failed a drug test, or somebody got into it at the Waffle House and shot at somebody. That'd be every day for a fucking NFL or a sports agent in general.
Oh shit, for a head coach.
Each team's got a cooler guy on there, like the Cowboys have an ex-Dallas PD detective that's there.
That'll handle shit.
They call. You got his card, and if you fuck up, you call him Max. You call Max at this number, and at 2:00 in the morning, he'll clean up your mess or try to help you or whatever. It's probably not as much now because social media kills it, but during the run when Michael Irvin and them was there, old Max stayed fucking busy trying to keep them guys out of jail, probably.
100%.
A guy that I know was at a topless establishment the night of Jimmy Johnson's, Hall of Fame, Wall of Fame, or whatever.
Oh, so recently?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, and Michael Irvin was front row.
He likes to party.
Throwing dollar bills. She said the girl had his ass right in his face, and he's just fucking motorboating. Guy's got a video of it. Michael Irvin's security came up to him and said, "Hey, we need your phone."
Fuck that.
He told him, "Fuck you." He said, "You don't pay my phone bill." Now, Whether or not he got out of it with the phone, I don't know. They might have.
For $10,000, we'll let you take that phone away
But
from
Michael was at a strip club in Dallas and was having a large time when everybody else was there.
That's absolutely shocks me none. He hasn't changed a bit.
This one time in Miami, Jake Long was all drunk, and we were out as the offensive line, and somebody started taking pictures of him. And I grabbed their phone and I just smashed it on the table. And he was like, "Thanks, bro."
Thanks, bro.
He's like, "Good looking out." And I was like, "Think we should get in the limo?" He goes, "Yeah, let's do that."
What did y'all have like a big party atmosphere all the time, like during your playing days? Like, would you go to practice or a game inebriated or hungover? Never.
No, it was
Always after off season.
after. I mean, it was a 6 day a week work and then 1 day of indulgence.
Right.
So like if it was off season, it was. I mean, you physically couldn't indulge,
Right.
like,
Right.
or at least I couldn't. I mean, some of the freaks could,
Yeah.
but I mean, most of them just smoked weed.
Right.
I was a drinker.
Do you think that should be legal in the NFL now?
I don't give a shit.
You don't care. I think it would be good for pain management.
Hey, let's be clear. Pay them their money. Let them use steroids.
Let them use steroids.
And let's party.
I agree.
I'm
I
with you.
agree
Let's
with the
televise
steroids.
this shit.
You're an entertainment. That's all you are.
Yeah, let's call a spade here.
Right.
Take the salary cap away. Let's let them get as big as they want to get and kill each other.
Baseball's never been as good as it was when Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire were in the home run chasing Sammy Sosa.
Truth.
And they were all on steroids. Everybody knew this shit. I mean, Sammy Sosa took so much shit he turned from black to white.
Yeah.
But people watch baseball. I remember out here when that was going on, like, oh my God, Barry Bonds.
They're starting to watch it again now because the juice balls and the pitch clock and all that. So they're starting to make offense a bigger thing, and it's good. But
Nobody wants to watch a 1-0 game.
hey, let's be very clear. If you said, "Hey, JD, I'm going to take 20 years off your life, but I'm going to give you $100 million," I'd be like, "Fuck, where do I sign up?"
Right.
You do that today?
Not now. If you just
Okay.
told me 20 years ago. Now I'm like, no. I want to live it out. But if you just said it at 20, hey, I'm going to give you legendarily life-changing money, generational wealth money for 20 years of your life.
And you're only going to live to be 60 instead of 80. You'd be all over it.
Done.
I'm 55 now, so that's not such a good deal.
I think I still might sign it.
Yeah, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. That's literally what they could. But then I love the safety rules around some of the hitting things in football, but I hate them all in the same
It's
moment.
gone too far.
It's gone way too far, but at the same moment, I understand why they exist. But here's the deal. You can't stop CTE. You can't stop concussions. You can't study for it. You can't crack my head open and tell me if I have CTE. I mean, you can't. It is what it. So either you can't take away football either. So it's like, people ask me, like, my wife and I are hoping to have kids soon. Is your kid going to play football? If he wants to, we're going to discuss it. Am I going to push it? No. Is he going to play tackle football before high school? Hell no.
Yeah.
That's a non-negotiable. And when my kid's neighbor or my neighbor's down the street kid is making fun of my kid for not playing tackle football in the local peewee, I'm going to be like, cool, you want to go to Colorado and shoot elk? Because his dad's not taking him to do that.
Right.
Because I'm going to be like, and then when his dad says something to me, I'll be like, hey, you're a dumbass.
Right.
So I really don't need your help.
Yeah.
What about back to the football, the helmets or the tackling and shit? If quarterbacks can run like they can now, they should be considered running backs as soon as they leave that pocket.
The only thing that I do respect on the tackling thing is the quarterbacks, because the game suffers when we have bad quarterback play.
And we
100%.
noticed that this year.
This year we've had mediocre quarterback play. The game is not as enjoyable to watch, so I'm fine with protecting the quarterbacks. But let the DBs murder the receivers.
Yeah. Some of the stuff that draws a flag now, it's just a good hit.
Well, I'll give you an example on the Cowboys. Dak's a big man. It takes a lot to get him down.
Josh Allen.
And you go to Josh Allen, same way. And you go to tackle him, and then you get a ticket for a penalty for roughing. Well, fuck, how is you supposed to tackle the big motherfucker? He's 6'5", 260 pounds.
But it doesn't matter, because if the Cowboys don't have Dak Prescott, then nobody's going to watch.
Yeah.
People still watch, but it's just not the same team. But it's not fair to call the defense for roughing a guy for just tackling him.
The sliding thing is what has to be so hard for a defender, because Josh Allen can slide at any moment. You don't know if he's going to tuck it and just bull rush you, or if he's going to slide.
I think if they cross the line of scrimmage, you should be able to kill them.
Okay, there you go. If
So
they
I'm
become
fine
a
with that.
runner,
But at the same moment, I'm also fine with protecting them because the game sucks.
yeah.
yeah, look at the New
Without
York
good
Jets.
quarterback play.
The Jets' whole season went down in the first on 5 plays.
But I mean, you can't even lay a crack block anymore.
Nope.
I mean, let the boys play, baby.
What was the play the other day in the game? Was it Dallas and Detroit, and they called a defensive back for a low block?
Yeah,
He was trying to make a fucking tackle.
and he wasn't even low.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was a terrible call.
He was trying to jump through the guy to go make a tackle.
Yeah.
It being a defensive back.
Yeah, it was a terrible call.
Yes, and you see it every game.
Yeah. No, in the other, the pass interference has gotten way out of hand. Now these guys are just practicing how to get the flag.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's bullshit.
Yeah, like the fade route anymore is just let's see if we can't get PI and we'll get it at the
Yeah,
spot of
if
the
we
ball.
catch the ball, great. But
Right.
this is mostly a PI route,
Right.
and we're 80% of the time going to get the PI call.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what are we going after here? So I mean, I still like the game, but I do think there's something to be said about like let them murder each other. And
Well, that's why people tune in.
yeah, I mean, I'm not really advocating for like steroid usage. I'm just saying like, don't get in the way of it.
Did you ever take steroids?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did it make a big difference?
Yeah.
Like, is it? I've never taken steroids, but I mean, is it like overnight or like how does it work? When do you start seeing the growth and the progress?
Pretty quick.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you love it? Just juicing it up?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Just take a shot right in the ass.
Multiple.
Oh, I love it. Just fucking juice to the gills.
Was this the OU deal?
This is more in the OU days. Yeah.
Yeah.
More of my earlier
Pretty
days.
common, wasn't it?
It was kind of not really spoken about, but when you saw people go from like, 225 reps of 10 to 25 over the course of a 6-week span, you kind of knew there was something going on.
Creatine's not doing that, buddy.
I mean, definitely there's a lot of growth happening in any young male between the ages of 17 and 21. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously some explosive measures that are going to take place in general speaking terms of high exercise training that you've never been. I mean, I graduated early. I went to college at Christmas, top athlete in my school at 17, but nowhere near the athlete of anybody on the OU campus when I showed up.
Right.
I mean, it was comical because I was like, I am nowhere near in good enough shape to play with these people. And it's the heart of off season, and I'm just getting murdered every single day. I'm like, what is going on? This is terrible.
I was the fucking hammer. Not
Oh.
the other way around. I was the hammer in high school.
Oh, God.
Now here I am and
Oh.
fucking just
In
teeing off
Schmitty's
on
world, just getting killed.
me. What Schmitty's world?
Oh, Schmitty was the strength coach.
Oh, I got you.
His workouts were just diabolical.
So was there like a steroid guy that everybody knew? Hey, you want to get strong? Go to him.
No, or at least I didn't know.
But I mean,
We all-
how does a 17-year-old kid new to Norman find a reputable guy to go get steroids?
Same way you found a drug dealer?
I couldn't do that.
Did
I'd be
you
too
live in the
nervous.
Bud Wilkinson dorm?
Yeah.
What was the difference in that and the poor kids that just going to regular school at OU?
Private bathroom, private shower,
Nice facilities then.
extra bedroom.
What was the dinner bell like there? Steak? Y'all eat good every night?
Yeah, we had good food. I mean, better food than they did, but it was still cafeteria food. I mean, a lot of people are on meal plans, so like, if you're gaining weight, you eat different things. If you're losing weight, you eat different things. But it was still the same. Like, it's still a school cafeteria. So I mean, it was nice. It was better. Don't get me wrong. By any means, it was better. But it was still like one of 37 items
Right.
in rotation. So it was like, lasagna night was every other Wednesday or something like that. And then steaks were every third Wednesday of the month. And they'd roll out all the charcoal pits and everything. And then when football would come out of the indoor, they'd light them. We'd go in and shower, get rehab, get treatment, come over, pick our cut of meat and cook our own steaks. And then go inside and get our sides.
It's always funny as the people that aren't in athletics bitch about the athletics and like, it's a real common denominator here. It's called economics. Those guys right there are making $1 billion a year or whatever the hell, millions of dollars a year. You're paying the school $10,000 a year to go to school.
Well, 49% of that dorm was still regular students, and you could apply for it.
To stay in the Bill Wilkinson dorm?
Yeah, no, 51%, excuse me.
No shit. Was that an NCAA rule? They did it so it'd be that way? Okay.
So I don't know if it's like that now. I bet it isn't. But yeah, no, my roommate my freshman year was a regular student who was a manager for the basketball team.
That's interesting then.
So yeah, 51% of all athletic dorms had to be normal students. And so when they applied for their dorm applications, they could apply for, so like a lot of the sorority girls would all apply for like one of the towers if they were from like a certain part of Texas. So they write, oh, I want to be in, I don't remember the names of the towers. There was 3 different tower names. And they'd be like, I'd prefer, you'd list your preferences. Well, Bud Wilkinson was one of them. So because there was, the girls side of it too. So there'd be normal girl students as well. So I feel bad. There was probably like some little girl, Asian foreign student that got stuck at the girls' Bud Wilkinson on a random draw. And she's like,
you're so big.
Oh, you're so big. And even the girl, the volleyball players are towering over her and the soccer. And I mean, it wasn't uncommon, because we had ping pong tables, we had pool tables, we had video games. So on any given night, there might be 20 people watching a very ferocious ping pong game play out. And she's over there trying to read a book.
Shit, she's Chinese. They'll get there whip your ass on ping pong.
I mean, so there was definitely nights where because the girls weren't allowed in the boys' room and the boys weren't around the girls' room. So there was this big common area.
Yeah.
And so I say they weren't allowed, you could have the girl in your room until 9:00, and they had to leave their ID. And then if you didn't have them down to the desk by 9:00, then they'd come up to your room and knock on it and be like, hey, it's time to go. Jennifer has to leave. So you can't be in there anymore. And the doors were all magnet locked, you couldn't sneak nobody in or anything like that. And it was all glass, even the fire alarms you couldn't get out of, you were gonna burn alive. So
what has the steroid use done anything to you later in life?
Who knows?
Dropping your natural testosterone?
I probably.
Yeah, I mean, get that tested or anything?
I've got 3 degenerative discs in my back that are all collapsed that they want to do a triple fusion on that I'm fighting off with injections. I'm probably an inch shorter now. Testosterone wise, I'm sure it's down.
Because I would juice right now. I would get on testosterone replacement therapy just because I'm 36, I think.
See, I wouldn't consider testosterone replacement therapy juicing.
Well, the thing is
HGH is what I would consider like things that grow,
right? Not
supplement.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you get on TRT, your natural supply will drop. So you got to be on TRT for the rest of your life. And I'm not willing to make a commitment that long.
Yeah, I don't know much about it.
I've studied it a little bit. But I would be all for it.
Sounds like you need it.
I mean,
if you studied it.
I would take it.
Well, why can't you?
I just don't want to be in a lifelong commitment of taking a testosterone shot.
Well, why do you feel you need it?
I don't know. I'm getting old. I need it. I need any edge I can get anymore. The workouts the pounds don't come off as easy. The workouts aren't as easy. I would take a little bit of free strength.
Okay. You do you.
I would love to. But like I said, then you got to be on it forever. So
that doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
No. And I don't like needles in the first place. How big are the needles?
Oh, you get over that.
You do?
Yeah. Bullshit.
Do you give them would you give them to yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I
Fuck
could do
that. Oof. There is no way you get used to needles.
It's not that hard.
Fuck that. It hurts like something. Getting an IV is the worst thing. I'd rather have open heart surgery than have an IV put in.
Are you fucking serious?
I hate IVs. God dang. I don't like needles, though. It hurts. Son of a bitch. Just thinking about it bothers me.
So your collapsed disc, is that from all the weight training that you did, or football? Is just everything?
It's probably everything. The compression of being an offensive lineman and exploding into a hit every time. Think about it. A receiver might run a route every play.
Right.
They don't actually hit anybody.
Yeah.
Whereas on the offensive line, 100 snaps a game.
100 car collisions a game.
You make a good point, because when you hear about all the CTE cases,
it's never
you
a
very
receiver.
seldom a receiver.
It's usually a defensive player because they hit hard.
And linemen.
And linemen.
Because they get head slapped all the fuck time. I
right.
can't imagine Aaron Donald head slapping you. They don't
God.
head slap like they used to.
Oh, God, that would hurt.
God, yeah, no shit.
I watch some of these guys play now, and I'm like, I can't believe I even made it that far. I'm like, what on God's green earth thought I could do that?
What was the hardest you ever got hit? Do you remember? Like the one hit that stands out where you're like, that motherfucker mollywopped me.
Ooh.
And the flip side, what was the hardest that you ever teed off on somebody?
Honestly, the only time I ever got hit and went, whoa, was my sophomore year of high school.
Really?
And his name was Tay Thompson.
Tay Thompson.
Still remember him.
Tay-Tay's not white.
Tay-Tay's not white. He went to A&M as a linebacker, and then he quit after he started as a freshman at Mike linebacker for A&M.
Wow.
And he quit to write poetry.
Really?
So he's a big son bitch, but he was very thoughtful.
Okay, so he was a Mike linebacker. He was a senior when I was a sophomore, and I pulled around through the hole, and this was what I knew. I was like, and he hit me so hard, I went, holy shit. And that's when I knew I'd kind of like stepped into a new ball game and kind of got my mind right. That's the only time I ever really. Oh, there's another time. Okay, but this was an illegal hit.
Okay. Tay-Tay done it legally.
Tay hit me legally, and that one made me go, oh shit. And then another time we were playing Oklahoma versus Kansas State at OU, and I had hit a defensive tackle and knocked him. I think I broke his leg or something. I don't know exactly what I did, but either way, I knocked him out of the game. His fellow defensive tackle was running his mouth and just all this shit and that shit. I was like, all right, whatever, dude. I'll get you as soon as you line up over me. It is what it is. Come on with it. So we run a play. Quarterback gets a running 50-yard scurry down the field, and I'm like, cool, hey. Just kind of jogging down the field, plays over, balls down, whistles have been blown. I start to kind of slow down to walk to the huddle, and this dude hits me at full speed from behind, and he knocks me just completely head over heels. He gets ejected from the game for an illegal hit. I get to and I pop up because it's right in front of the student section. I pop up. I'm not about it. Full stadium. I pop up, and I'm like, whoa. And I kind of see, oh, there's the huddle. Okay, so I start walking towards the huddle, and Bomar gets in there to call the play, and I go, oh, what's on the play? What's on the play clock? What's on the play clock? And he's like, 20. I go, wait, call it 8. Call it 8. Call it 8. And he's like, you all right? I'm like, shut up, just call it 8. Take like 3 big deep breaths. You good? You ready? I'm like, if you have to. He calls the play. He calls the play, and I get down, and I'm like, oh, thank God, it's zone away. and I have one technique who's angled. So I'm like, I'm going to fucking pin your knee right to the ground and think you'll be done. So he goes, what? And I just pin his knee right to the ground. He falls down, and Adrian runs off to the left side for like a 12-yard touchdown. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. I stumble my way back to the sideline, and I'm just sitting there, and the trainer comes and goes, how you doing? And I was like, fine. He's like, you're not fine. I was like, yes, I am. Yeah, why don't you take a series off? I was like, no, not doing it. That was before protocols.
Yeah.
He's like, that was a pretty bad hit. I was like, go away. That's literally what you would do. You'd be like, just leave. Just go away.
Just leave me.
I don't need anybody seeing me talk to you.
Yeah.
Just go away. I just need to be left. I need to be left alone on this metal bench that's not moving for like 5 minutes. Those are the 2 hits that I really like remember. I do remember hitting Jason Taylor in the Miami Dolphins camp, and not that he hit me hard, but I remember thinking, damn, he hits harder than I thought he would, because he is a little bitty skinny thing.
Right.
He is fast. He's quick. Yeah, lanky.
Yeah.
So I remember hitting him one time and going, whoa.
There's a lot to you.
Yeah, there's a little bit more pop in that uniform than I thought. I was like, okay, no wonder you've been in the league so long. Okay, this makes sense.
His son is a freaking stud tight end for LSU.
Yeah. So like I said, he didn't hit me hard, but when I pulled around that corner and he squared up my outside shoulder to make sure he kept outside contained, I was like, damn. Okay.
You're not moving.
No, he had outside contained. So I was like, shit, I didn't make this block right. Because it was more of like a walkthrough type thing. But in the NFL, there's not like no shoulder pad type situations. Bullshit. It's still full speed.
It is?
Oh, hell yeah.
Really?
Especially if you ain't a Jason Taylor.
Really?
Yeah.
You're going out to make a name.
You
Pop somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
So your shoulders would come back and they'd just be all black and blue because those defensive linemen were just firing off with their helmets. And unless you stopped them with your hands, you're just taking it to the collarbone. Just boom, every time.
How are your shoulders now?
Both reconstructed.
Really?
Yep.
Who's your head coach at Miami?
It was the Hispanic fellow that is now dead.
Sperano?
Sperano.
Mike, what was
Nick
his name?
Sperano?
I don't have a clue.
Mike Sperano? He was only there a couple of years.
So it was after Jimmy Johnson had left.
Yes.
So Zach was there too then. Thomas.
Texas Tech.
Hall of Fame middle linebacker. Just Jason Taylor's brother-in-law. Matter of fact, he's married to Jason Taylor. Jason Taylor's married to his sister.
No clue.
Played at Tech, All-American.
Tony Sperano. Tony Sperano.
Jimmy Johnson drafted Zach Thomas. Undersized linebacker.
Short little guy.
Not ringing a
He
bell.
played there forever. He played with Jason Taylor. You had to have been your teammate.
Well, Jason Taylor left and went to the Washington Redskins and came back for his retirement year.
Okay, well,
So when I was there, he was just there for that 1 year, and then he retired as a
Zach might have
Dolphin.
already been retired by then too.
Yeah, the year he played around me was like a joke year. He just did it so he could retire as a Dolphin.
What about your knees and everything? I mean, is everything hurt at this time of your life, or just your back mostly?
Mostly my back and hands.
Just from the physicality of it all?
Just like I've had my scapholunate replaced here. My thumb got disconnected here, so they had to replace, like, put all that back together. And then you basically break pretty much every knuckle. You can see this knuckle hasn't grown back.
Yeah.
See how it's just like when it cracked, it gets the way that they said it broke and then shifted down and then regrew like that. So then that the arthritis in the hands and stuff is like that one's dislocated a few times. You can see it doesn't really straighten. Mm-hmm. So hands and shoulders and back and neck. Probably.
So when your thumb got dislocated, what do they do for that? Do you go to the sideline, they pop it back in, or what?
Oh, no. They cut me open there and then reconnected all this. Oh, it not dislocated. It
Pop, just,
like ripped everything off.
oh, fuck. Where were you at when that happened?
That was at Montana.
Jesus.
They're lowering the temperatures again.
Really? Mm-hmm. What was the coldest game you played in? You had to play in some cold games in Montana.
The coldest one we ever played. There were some cold ones up there. I mean, like 7 degrees, 6
Is everything
degrees.
harder when it's cold like that? I mean, firing off the ball, hitting somebody. I mean, is the attitude kind of like, God almighty?
Yes and no. I mean, it definitely isn't easier. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I was one of those pricks, too, so I made sure nobody on the offensive line wore sleeves.
Really?
Yeah, so it was like...
What do they have? It's like, what somebody called it, it's like tiger or something? Or like a balm that they put on?
No.
Nothing?
It's called skin.
I'd stand there and stare down across the field from like Sam Houston State or somebody would come up and I'd just stand there and look at them and be like, y'all ready? Beat them by like 30, send them home.
With no sleeves on.
Oh, yeah. The whole line. I didn't let anybody wear sleeves.
That's,
So if you were the third string,
you're not, if you're,
not
you're
wearing
never
sleeves.
getting in.
If your number is in the 60s, 50s, 60s, or 70s, you ain't wearing sleeves. Period.
And you're going to stand there.
You're going to stand there on the
3
sideline
hours.
for 3 hours and freeze your ass off. 7 degrees outside.
When you got to that locker room, what
You were
was it-
very
when
grateful.
you got to the locker room from OU to Montana, did you immediately pick up and like, I'm the alpha here and start running things?
There was a little pushback, but I mean, everybody was a little nervous because anytime, like, because transfers weren't a big thing back then, right?
Right.
So transferring in, like, that means somebody's losing their job. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a starter that's going to lose their job because they're not dumb. Like, there's a reason coach was like, no, you can come here.
Yeah.
So one
You're
of the
better than Bubba over there.
one of the 5 offensive linemen was going to be out of job. Mm-hmm. So here's a guy that's like probably from Montana, you know, their home state, and very excited to be playing for the Grizz, and they're about to be jobless. Mm-hmm. And they could be older than me. They could be my same age. You know, fortunately for them, I got suspended for a year. Bullshit. And, you know, not only it was bad enough that I got kicked out of Oklahoma for such a small deed, I had to sit out an entire year for the penance. Mm-hmm. And dude, the NCAA would fly up every like 2 months and interrogate me and try to get me to snitch on everybody. And looking back, I'd have snitched on everybody. If I could go back in time, I would.
Who would you snitch on?
Everybody.
Who would be the big one right now?
Everybody.
Okay, I'm NCAA. I'm asking you.
Everybody.
You're not going to name no names?
No, I'm tired. I mean, there's no value in it now.
Well, that's true. I mean,
There's no upside for me.
Yeah.
But if I could go back on it, I would have been like, I would have walked out of one office and been like, well, that didn't go how I wanted it to go. So off I go down to the news.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to meet with David Boren?
Oh, fuck no. That guy's a pussy. He would never have met with me.
Always wondered about that.
No, David.
He was president
Yeah.
of OU.
And I will say that somebody at one point did tell me that David Borden was the final, like the coaching staff was fighting, in theory, allegedly, that they were trying to make this all go away. And David Borden was the one that was like, nope, cut some heads. Which I don't necessarily believe or don't believe, but that is a rumor that I did hear at one point in time.
Was they afraid they were going to be the next SMU?
Yes. And it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I could go back in time, like, dude, I brought a lawyer to my meeting with the NCAA and they told me I couldn't have a lawyer.
Right.
That's bullshit. First of all, they're not a
legal entity.
No, that's what's bullshit about
They
the whole
said
deal.
because I signed a contract with my scholarship, I was only entitled to certain things.
Bullshit.
The right of due process, any type. They were bullying a kid.
Yep, that's exactly what they do. You know, it's crazy.
So when I hear any of these athletes going after these programs or the coaching staff, I'm like, get them, get them now, get them early, get them often, because they are lying to these kids. They're lying to their parents. They're misleading them left and right.
The whole system is a fucked up system. There's no doubt about it. But it's hard to believe Reggie Bush can't keep his Heisman Trophy, and they're letting guys do the same thing Reggie Bush is doing now.
It's hard to believe that Reggie Bush can't keep his Heisman Trophy because somebody gave him an apartment. But Joe Mixon is in the NFL after he damn near killed a girl in a subway on camera because she maybe or maybe not used a racial slur.
Which is not a racial slur if you're the right color.
Correct.
That just that floors me, that whole thing.
I mean,
You can't say the C word ever because it's bad everywhere, they say.
I-
But you can use the N word if you're a certain color and it's okay and it doesn't make sense.
I don't care. A 100-pound little girl uses whatever word they want.
You don't hit her.
Doesn't justify that. First of all, a hit, let alone a hit from a first-round pick.
Well, any man shouldn't hit a woman.
I agree with that
I've
too.
never hit a woman in my life. I've been mad at one of them a
I've
couple
been
of
mad at
times.
one or two.
But I've never, ever hit a woman. I never will hit a woman because I was raised different than that.
I don't care how you're raised.
You shouldn't hit women.
You shouldn't hit them. But if you're raised wrong, it ain't my problem.
No.
He should have gone to jail for that.
Yeah.
He should have gone to jail.
Yeah, a word should not matter that you can't hit
The
somebody.
University
She
of Oklahoma
pushed
kept
first
him
to
out
be
of
the only-
jail.
That was their deal, is that she slapped him first or hit him first.
We just watched the video.
She hit him.
She
If you
pushed
watched it,
him.
She did. She put hands on him first.
Yeah, but
I'm not taking up for him by means. I'm just telling you that's the protocol they used to keep him on the football field.
Well, that's, you know what? If you want to call that the legal protocol to keep him out of jail, that's fine. But is that the establishment you want to represent at the
No,
University of Oklahoma?
no. See, she goes at him and she slapped him too, and he knocked the fuck out of her.
And you know what? Legally, you could make that argument. But you're going to tell me that you're going to dismiss me for taking a couple $1,000 somebody handed me, and you're gonna protect that guy?
You didn't steal the money.
I didn't
They gave
steal
it
it.
to you.
I didn't steal it.
That's what I'm saying. They gave it to
They
you.
gave it to me with a smile.
Yeah, I think that it's just a screwed up world.
I'd like to know how much they spent to keep that under the table.
It's public knowledge.
A lot of money.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it went into high court for like a year. But they tried to keep that video out from release.
Because I think he played another year after that. And
played
then
a whole nother year.
And then Cincinnati
No,
drafted him.
no suspension.
Yeah, and Cincinnati drafted him, and they caught a lot of shit for it. And then,
But they didn't catch any shit leading up to it until the video came out.
right.
That's this just said they settled for $60,000. It doesn't say how much they paid, or the article that I found.
That's between him and her.
Right? Yeah. But it said OU City of Norman settles lawsuit over Joe Mixon assault case.
Well,
I can tell you this now. If that happened today, he wouldn't play football no more because all the woke shit. No, as soon as that come out, that would do it today. We're a different world we live in now.
money's still money.
Yeah, but I don't.
If he did
especially as a running
as
back.
like a sophomore in college, I think you're right.
Yeah.
If he did it in the NFL, he'd be back next year.
I don't know. But running backs are a dime a dozen nowadays too.
don't
Not
know.
worth the trouble. Anyways, I got
All
a
right,
scout.
it's been almost 2 hours. So
JD, we appreciate you being on
start
here
wrapping
again.
up.
Look forward to next time.
Yep, we'll
Thanks
see
a
you in
lot.
September.
All right.
Thanks a
sounds
lot,
good,
sir.
guys.
All right, everybody, be safe out there. Goodbye. Love you. Watch for deer.
See you. Bye.
Check out our sponsor, boys and girls. Check out Double T British Kennels for all of your Labrador needs. Mossberg, Stanfield Outfitters, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Hemp Hill Farm. Use the promo code BHP. Ducks Unlimited, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Podcast, MLR, Graphics, Boss Shot Shells, Pacific Calls, PHP 25, Dive Bomb Industries, Dirty Duck Coffee, and Shin Gear.